I get this number. I'm at plus 4. Okay. We're testing some things. Now you might be like, oh, is there a new feature? No. No. We're testing what's been broken by Windows so that we can then correct it. So, testing things that we already know worked before. It's just whether or not. Oh, Imposing Chris is here. Test. Exactly. Yeah, we're testing whether or not Windows broke everything. Hello, Imposing Chris. You'll be on screen soon. Don't worry. I just have to click on me poodle, and there we go. You broke a window? No, Windows broke a window. Windows 10 decided to update. So everything is kerfluffled. I had to resync the microphone at least with its designated crap. Otherwise, OBS wouldn't recognize the microphone. So I had to click on stuff. Have you ever broken a window before? Uh, I've been around a broken window that just broke, but I don't think I personally have. But I might have. I don't think so, though. Anyway, so I don't. Yeah, you haven't been around for a while. Yeah, you have. Yeah. By the way, I changed some things. First off, there used to be a little, like, ramp. You can see the remnants of it. I'm using that ramp just to get up here, but there used to be a ramp that went from there to over there. I cut that off because we now have a highway. And I designed a little rail system for the thingamabob. Oh yes, I see that the ramp is gone. I'm going to work to the point where that air highway is no longer used. But for now, it is as it is. Look at this, it sends me flying. Whee! Okay. But I'm going to try and make this as useless as possible so that I can remove it. And then replace it with something that's a little bit more useful. Which is exactly why I stuck this prominently necessary object on it. Silliness. Oh, I can use vehicles with this, which is the main advantage. And also, I integrated this then into a highway to the mainland. I also made a diagonal line thingamabob. But because of how things work, I had to do a little bit of fiddling to make it work. And what is useful? That tower. And also, you know, the steel factory over here, but who's counting that? I'm gonna ignore that I just did that. Also you and your comments. You're very useful. I'd have no idea what to say without you. I'm joking, kind of, but not really all that much. Genuinely, thank you. I don't like streaming, but I love reacting to chats. Well, that's nice of you. I call it more honest than anything else. Either way, other than that, I have to plug this up to the logistics application so that I can go from all these small little builds onto a more functional one. Tell me about your most dinner. Your most dinner. Well, last night I had a very nice Arby's sandwich. Most recent dinner. Yeah, last night. Well, technically speaking, if you count breakfast, but I don't. But yeah, Arby's. I had nice Arby's. I had the meat. Okay, and then I watched later on a short about, and I'm not joking about this, a short about Master Chief's Halo and the Arbiter talking to each other, where the Master Chief continuously called or actually was explaining to the Arbiter that the restaurant came before the Arbiter did. And that when he walked in the room, because he said, you have the meat because of the restaurant, not because of the Arbiter's capability to reproduce. So that was a whole something. I mean, it was a good joke. I was actually tempted to spend that. I was tempted to send that to a friend of mine that likes Halo, but he might have liked it. He might not have. A while back, well, not a while back, but like I've heard more recently that the more recent Halo game didn't go too well. Which was its own application. That's kind of sad, because, like, I know a friend, well, a good friend of mine that actually really liked Halo. Like, it was only okay. Well, that's good. If it's at least okay. Although an epic really should be a little bit more than that, but... Because that's kind of the whole point of it, like the whole, I need a weapon and such. Doesn't tend to be more of a grandiose adventure when it comes down to the Halo games, from my understanding. Like, most of the big, like, Halo stuff that goes through my feed, which now is going to be stinking flooded with it. From my understanding, a lot of it is about the grandeur. Which, like, to be clear, they do very well. Okay, there's not a lot that's less grandeur than, like, sending the Covenant back their nuclear weapon. Nuclear arms. Or whichever derivative of individual mission you wish to reference at this particular moment. But I'm gonna stop talking about Halo since I'm not really all that much of a Halo fan. You see, the reason that you enjoy this Halo game, but I don't enjoy this Halo game. Would you have volunteered for the Spartan program? Would I have gotten kidnapped in the middle of the night? Probably not. Unless you're talking about the Spartan... well, I mean, the Spartan 2... No, the Spartan 2 program was the Master Chief. The Spartan 1 program was actually under a different name. The Spartan 3 program was a bunch of 9-year-olds that were effectively just promised lollipops and delivered war. And then the Spartan 4 program was ODSTs that got transferred over to Spartans because the armor got good enough. If I recall correctly from the nerd that I am friends with that read the books, and also the shorts that have come thereafter. If you're talking about the first program, then definitely not, because that takes military experience. I mean, personally speaking, if I was offered it, I probably still would go down the route with it. The Spartan 2 program, you'd have to get kidnapped. I don't remember that happening in my childhood, but who knows? 'Tis a pattern. And as far as the Spartan 3 and 4, I'd probably still go with it. Although personally, like... Actually, I'd probably not go with the Spartan 4 program, because the Spartan 3 program, I'd have to be like a 9-year-old idiot who doesn't know about certain details about myself at the time. Given, like, current age, any kind of neural interface going into the back of my skull, given, certain neural disabilities that I have, seem unwise. Most Spartans were killed by the stinking armor. I'd be killed by the stinking, like, what do they usually use it for? Like, opening doors? I'd be killed by the modification unit. Okay, then my name is Badge. What happened? We installed the neural link and then he stopped breathing for some reason. Then he started starfishing on the ground. But what if they said they will fix everything but putting the neural interface in? But what if they said they will fix everything but put the neural interface in? I mean, that's cool, but the whole point of the program was that they picked, like, people for the program, not the program for the people. It's kind of like the point that they chose and kidnapped then, but that's kind of the irrelevant aspect. But they chose people who actually were built more toward the job from the get-go. I'll take that as a no then. Probably a wise idea. Because actively speaking... Sorry. I mean, actively speaking, I love the idea of going around in power armor and crap like that. Don't get me wrong, but... the genetic modification in general is about the iffy spot. I understand that that's the whole point. Like, they genetically modified toward the armor. But the only other application in which I'd really have a complaint would be the neural interface specifically. And that was like a default requirement for anybody in the Navy at that point, if I recall correctly. Which I probably don't. It was the whole entire thing where Captain Keyes, you had to... And to be clear, I did not do that mission, but I did hear about that mission where you had to go in, get Captain Keyes' neural interface, and then, if I recall correctly, at that point, plug you out of there. Although, it might have been Destroy the Ring. Again, I didn't play that mission, nor did I... I've played Reach. I've played Halo Reach. That is it. Either way, though, it is ignorant of what gripes I do and do not have of Halo, which I do have a few. Again, nitpicky garbage like the stinking neural interface garbage that you just had to deal with. I'm sorry about. When I say I might have my gripes about Halo, it is still like one of the core first-person shooters. Not just in people's memory, but also in the actual development space, where people sat down and was like, what kind of game mechanics do I want to have? Do I want to... Well, I mean, if I recall correctly, grenade jumps came before that, but... Although they were rocket jumps because of, I think, Oblivion? I was born a little bit too late to know that history well. Either way, again, probably wise for me to shut up before I start butchering history. Anyway, Kenny's back. Hello, Kenny. And I have no light. Lamp. History never happened. I will try not to make a joke there. Is that why you keep calling me that? Kenny? I'm sleepy, so I will be lurking. Well, have a nice sleepiness. I hope that you... Well, yeah. I hope you have a nice lurking session. Thank you for letting me know. Ignoring everything else so that I don't bother you too much. Anyway, so Kenny, how's it going so far? Or Bureau 3, or whatever I'm supposed to call you at this point. I'm confused. Rose gonna jork in the background. Oh dear. He's gonna jork. It's somewhere between pork and jerky. That sounds horrible for your health. What is wrong with my head? So we have these two merging over here. This is at the 75% that is required. This is an application. A job application? I'm joking. When it comes down to it. There should be everything fine here. And that goes back down. Then I can set it around. And then we put 3 of these. Each one of these requires 140 screws. So I'm going to have to power load. Okay, but first things first. Actually setting, like, if I recall correctly, these just take a steel beam. Yeah, steel beam. That takes a steel beam, that takes an iron plate, that takes the materials of the two individual, and then take that, flap it over here. Do a job application. That, don't say that word without censoring it. But I just fulfilled the gerb application as you've sat down and done. Censored it. I still find it funny people actually find the offense to that word. Please tell me you're joking about that. Please tell me the world is not that degenerate. Like, I know it probably is. I mean, people get offended over everything. What am I saying? It's a stinking end wall. But I did fill one of those recently. He doesn't know. No, I know. I know about the skies that are blue. And the dogs that are pregnant. Chat, he doesn't know. I have been unfortunately made aware. Did I try and stow this? At this point? Nah. Either way, so... or whichever social media site you want to actively sit down and refer to as redonkulous in the nature of the offense of which they receive. Wasn't there like a... actually, that might get a little bit. Anyway. So this cell is for heavy modular frames. What the fudge was that prior? That is a control unit that requires the heavy modular framage and the modular engineage. It just takes rubber. Rubber. I like rubber. I do feel like it's a little bit useless in this game. I do wish it was a little bit more useful, but oh well. Okay, so that's the modular frames. Then I need the encased beams, the steel pipe, and the modular frames. And the flipping screws. You are correct. I did not know that I needed more flipping screws. I should have just... actually, that's thinking... oh my goodness. Okay, so... what in good gravy am I even dealing with here? Okay. I'm just gonna go ahead and start trying to sort things out. Okay, so... first, second, third stage. So we're going to change this to 00 FF 00. Select color settings, select icon, and layout. Okay. Don't really know how much I care about that. Element settings, emission 3, glossy matte, background. Let's just make it some technological, and then past that, first stage. Then we're gonna go ahead and undo that. Also gonna just take this, I believe, FFFF00. There we go. Take that, copy it, put it 2 more times, and let's get the information that we require. First things first. This needs 250. The first stage is 1 instance of 250. Does that actually require reinforced plates, or is it just... No, it's just screws. So the original guy is going to be 250. Do not revert settings. And then this guy over here will require, I believe, 140. 140 times 3. 420. So 40, just because I have common sense, let's put these inside of parentheses, use an X like a normal person, and then say 3. Is that actually the math that I did earlier? Yes. I do not care that that has been removed. Let's do an equal sign because we're not savages. 420. Just to make sure that Euro 03 can make all of the jokes about the fungus and many different variants of fun time that he can have. And then 240? Yeah, 240. We got 420 and 240. All kinds of references, I'm sure. Fungi, weeds, and all kinds of things. So we got 420. Actually, lower this down. Just so that... Dare I say 6.7. That was the thinking stupidest thing. I liked a random video, and it was on 60, like, 6, and it went to 6.7, and it threw confetti all over the place on YouTube. I was watching a short, and I just, like, I liked on the 6.7 point, and I was like, 6.7, and it was a whole stinking thing. I don't even know anymore. I don't get that frustrated at it. But, like, when I'm watching a video and I'm actually trying to pay attention and confetti gets thrown all over the place, it gets a little frustrating. It's like, wow, I like this video. I want to pay attention to 6.7. Look at confetti. Wow. You weren't paying attention to anything important. Look over there. XD sounds so dumb. Is it still a thing? At least in YouTube. That was like less... I don't know whether or not. I'm gonna go over the flipping YouTube and literally. Okay, I liked it when it showed up. I'm gonna turn off the volume so that I don't accidentally bring up the poor knucklehead and make him have to make another short. He's probably fine with it. But it was like August 10th, 2026. The 10th was 7 days ago, so at least a week ago, it's still a thing on YouTube. At least in the developer square of 9-year-olds. Which might actually be more realistic than I'm saying, but I'm going to hope that it's not. What are we dealing with here? So, we need an extra 240 on the existent application. I don't think that if I stretch this out, I'll get an extra 240. This is at full capacity, 260. So, I just need another buddy for this. So, I need to make 4 screws. Means I gotta move either all of this way or that way. Or I could just have some common sense. Just admit that I should probably do this logistics portion underground. Like a normal person. If that were a thing on the internet. So far, not convinced. I mean, maybe I could just slip it in, just barely. How about it's the clipping? No. No. I don't really even need to. I do not need to redesign literally everything here. I just need some screws. But my temptation to try and do so ignorant of the necessity, or lack thereof, is very much present. I think I missed, guys. Okay. Okay. Back. Did I remember the correct? Yes. Everything is correct, except for my mental... Actually, my mental state is fine. Best not to make those jokes. Might give some sort of algorithm the wrong idea. The bad idea. I'm at the think I'm down. Can't have them being correct for like 5 minutes and not suggesting to me idiotic crap that I have sat down and specifically avoided like millions of times prior, but this time I'm gonna really click on it. It's just fucking ridiculousness. You know what I mean? And how come sneaking meme numbers never includes like normal things like 5? Okay? Like I like the number 5, but no, it's never 5, it's always 6. Or 9. And also the stinking 7 garbage crap. Blah blah blah. It's never symmetrical like numbers either. It's just a mixture of 2 different numbers that might get like 69 tends to actually be symmetrical, but like that's the combination of the two. It's not actually the individual numbers. You know what I mean? 1 is also a funny number. Well, so it is. It is, you could say, an odd beginning. Do I know why? Because it's always the odd one out? so I can... Let's hope this works. Is it the odd one out thing that I guessed, or is it not? Did I guess it? They said because it represents PP, so it's a PP joke. Ah, the age-old, it's a line, so it's male genitalia. Like, that is the oddest jurisdiction. Like, I understand when there's, like... Not to be that guy. But I understand when it's something like this. But, like, when you're talking about, like... Like, that's just being stupid. I mean... Like, you can't even do anything at that point. You've literally made a eunuch. It takes a little bit more material than that. It's not even all that complicated. But like I've seen people where like there's a rocket ship. It's literally just a line. And like that kinda looks like something. Okay, so I need to start thinking. So this all needs plates, that needs... Wait, this needs plates. What does this need? Reinforced plates and screws. Okay, so the screws will come from there. This line is for this line. I mean, this puts out 195. This puts out 260, which adds up to about... I mean... Okay, so this line will need 420. Apparently I'm going to do this for a stinking minute now. So that line needs 420, which is effectively a full belt, so I can't just write off of this belt. I have to have a brand new belt for this garbage at the back. Because it wasn't exciting enough, and then I still got to figure out how to get the pipes here, and the encased industrial beams. Either way, I just faced through garbage. I must be a stinky boy. Even garbage doesn't want to touch me. So, Daryl was thinking take this down below. Or the prices are way better. No, I'm joking. Uh-oh, stinky. Oh, yes. Yes, stinky. That is literally the opposite of what I was going for. Okay. So if I do all this except topside. I don't know. To answer your question earlier, I'm mega tired, I'm at home, and it's painful. I'm sorry to hear that. I genuinely do hope you feel better soon. Yeah, I mean... Not that like I was being ingenuine before, but like, you know what I mean. Or do you know what I mean? Or do I know what I mean? I don't know. Okay. It's fine. One sleep and going to work tomorrow, things will be better. Yeah. That's a good attitude to have. Now then. going to undo the mistake that I made there. A well-earned paycheck. And a good old nap. Isn't it? Ew, paycheck. I actually did try to avoid a paycheck one time. Fun fact. I tried to dodge getting paid. Now, it's because it was my best friend, and I actively speaking thought it was funny. He did not think it was funny. Like, I love the man. Okay, he's my best friend. He's a good guy. But gosh darn it, like, I'm not gonna sue you. He's like, I'm making sure you're getting paid. It's like $100. He said, nah, freaking the crap out. And I'm like, it's $100. Okay, I'm not buying a house with $100. And in 1987, it's like you're getting paid. Like, $100 is nice, and it's lovely. But I told him I got paid from Chick-fil-A. I was happy. Chick-fil-A is good. Okay, it is give or take. Okay, you gotta understand. Some people like Chick-fil-A, some people like KFC. So if you like KFC, you're probably not gonna like Chick-fil-A. And if you like Chick-fil-A, you're probably not gonna like KFC. It's kind of one of those weird things. It's not because like Chick-fil-A or KFC is bad, but because you always compare it to the other one. So whichever one you have first, that's probably going to be the better option. Because the primary thing that sells both of them is nostalgia. Or when it comes down to KFC, the fact that Colonel Sanders is a mad lad. But I love Chick-fil-A because I had Chick-fil-A first. So I'm on the Chick-fil-A side of the force. But past that, it is very much up to your raising. Is Chick-fil-A bigger? Does it have a mascot? It has a cow. And the cow says, eat more chicken. And that's about it. And it has amazing sweet tea. But you also have to know what's up in sweet tea is to actively truly enjoy it. Because if you go for it like expecting the more flowery sweet tea, you're not gonna get that. It's very much English breakfast. But they left it out in the sun to actively properly just get the good bacon in for like a solid period of time. I don't know exactly like I don't think they actually take it outside to actively speaking sun ferment the tea, but like that's the flavor you get out of it. Should I? No, that's a bad idea. But like it's very much more bagged tea than like flower tea. So it's bagged tea with like a bunch of sugar in it. It's diabetes. And delicious. As in diabetes. Okay. And all of this was a hilarious waste of time. Because these are supposed to be Mark 1s, so that I'm not wasting an extensive amount of material that I just don't need to. I don't know why. I just only remembered now. I'm supposed to be belt loading within a certain amount. Love me some diabetes. Exactly. Fun fact, I'm pretty sure diet actually comes from like a term that means life or way of life. Which is an interesting application that I have to think about. When like you run into like thousands of content creators sitting down trying to like sell you on their diet, their life. And I'm not against trying to actively speak and make people feel better, but like at the opposing end of it, some people take it a little bit far. You're not vegan? kind of thing. I'm gonna get my voice back real quick. So there should be a nice little hole right here. Okay. Speaking of holes. Don't intentionally eat trash. Well, that is a way of life. But I also do love the taste of the chemicals, okay? Like the chemical waste that you always see in the cartoons, they don't tell you. But it's sour grape flavored. See, that right there? That little tanker of sour grape? Like, tell me that that doesn't look delicious. Okay, like a vat, like, what'd it be, like a 10-gallon drum of sour grape flavored, glowing smoothie? Jokes aside, fun fact, radiation doesn't actually make things glow green. Although technically there is an effect before fusion, which has a name that I've forgotten, that glows blue. Which is technically a plasma event, but radiation is supposed to glow blue, not green. And I give absolutely zero garbage craps about that. Sour grape flavored glowing things are personally my preference. I love inaccurate radiation. I love MSG. Yes, exactly. The sour grape flavored MSG is very tasty. I must agree. I must concur. Excuse me. Okay, so I'm supposed to care about most of these. I care about these pipes, these beams, which are backwards for some unknown reason, and I need to get them all the way up, and also these plates, and these encased beams. So, okay. Of course, I need to sit down and work at it from behind. Okay. I do wish that worked, where I could just put that on there, and then it's like, oh yeah, you want to actively, like, attach that? Sure. Is that correct? Correct but broken. As is inevitable. Is that correct? Yep. Yeah, locks in. Definitely don't want to be running low on those. That is going towards my Snake King. Encased beam supply, and my encased beams are already not doing too good. The internet sure is a misleading place. Tell me, were you homeschooled without telling me you were homeschooled? I bet you didn't eat yet. I actually did eat yet. So, muahahaha. I actually thought about my actions. The thing that I did not do is potty before actively streaming. Which I did consciously, because I knew if I did, it probably wouldn't even matter. And yeah, that's about where you'd expect that to be. But I did remember to eat. That I did. Had a nice... That's not a foundation. I had a nice... Apparently that thing wants to spam things. Nice Jimmy Dean. For breakfast. One singular Jimmy Dean. Bro, speaking of which, Whimsy posted a pic of the noodles she made the other day. Did you taste any of that? She swears by it tasting good, but it looks so... You mean the ramen? I didn't have it. I didn't have any. But they're perfectly fine. Nah, I'm joking. But yeah, I didn't have any of them, but they look good. I just don't usually go with ramen. It's something about me, whenever I cook ramen, I just, like, burn the crap out of myself. Inside of my mouth. But, it looks good. This guy hates ramen. It's sad, because I like warm food. I genuinely do like warm food. But when I have to boil the water, I usually go too far, because I like food very warm. Also tends to feel a little bit bland. But not too bland. Like, I always feel like there's something. Something that I could add. There's something missing. I just don't know what. Admittedly, it's probably just a copious amount of salt. I am very much a horse in that regard. The little flammable liquid on the noodles and light it up. You mean alcohol? I mean, that's technically a technique. I don't know if I actually care about all that crap right now. Do I? That'd be getting Sam to the top of the world, which I don't care about. So no, I do not care. Nah, something with a little bit more flammable and explosive. Okay. Flammable, explosive, but edible. Hmm. So, like, do you love barbecue more than noodles? Yeah, I'd say so. Not extensively, but I'm more of a beans guy. I like beans. And I do like a good barbecue. It's just, as far as it goes, like, if you're saying cheeseburger, I definitely say I prefer a good cheeseburger. But if you're talking about, like, sitting down with, like, chicken wings and crap, beans the British this guy is. Beans this guy is British. Eh. I mean, they're... Well, first off... Okay. Just because I like a good meme does not make me European. Okay, Europeans hardly have a sense of humor. And second off... I mean, like, technically they use, like, beans on occasion, but, like... Eh. Whatever, I'll let it be. Definitely eats beans on toast and beans and his green sweet tea. I do not drink green sweet tea. Okay, I do not drink green tea as far as it goes. I like green, but like if green betrays me, and I don't go down the routes with that. Okay. As far as like green tea, no. Okay. English breakfast does the stinking job when it comes down to stinking like tea. Coffee does the stinking job when trying to wake up in the morning. And soda does the job anytime else. As far as it goes, again, overarchingly, I tend to prefer cheeseburger. When you talk about, like, beans in general, my personal preference is beans and bangers, but not beans and bangers, beans and wieners. I call it beans and wieners because it's just sticking a bunch of baked beans inside of a vat with some stinking wieners and then cooking it all together. It's very tasty. I meant bean sweet tea. See? Why would I do that? Beans and wieners sus. Exactly. It is sus. But it does make you a wiener. Who doesn't want to be a wiener now and then? A wiener. Okay, so what do I want, where, and why, and how? As far as anything else. If I sit down, move this about over here, there should be one spare little recipe that I want out of this machination. Okay, so it needs pipes and... Huh. Okay. So it might just be wise to sit down and have it be there. Yeah, that's about it. The anti-wiener movements. Ah! Kappa beans and wieners. The anti-wiener movement. I can't believe people are for losing. Unless you're talking about removing something from yourself, at which point that I must advise elsewhere to place your supports. This anti-wiener movement seems to intend for you to destroy that most precious. Which, I mean, it's not all that much. Like, there's more to you than that part to most people. Especially the people who actually care. But also, it is rather important for, like, living and having the material that actively tends to be inside of there, that being a copious amount of blood, to maintain inside that jurisdiction. So I must advise any surgery involving such a movement be taken place anywhere that I'm not. I ain't putting my hands there. Somebody else can apply consistent pressure. Can't live with the mind. Can't think otherwise. It takes over. I want you to bet this is gonna get flagged for self-harm. This thing is amazing at snapping to every word that I don't care. Okay. I don't mean on Kick, I mean on YouTube. I upload this to YouTube, remember? I'm not even, like... I haven't been on for... Okay, this is something that is actually interesting. So I did try to, raid someone. Apparently you need to actively have been on, like, Kick for 5 or so years before you can raid. I've only been on for, like, 7 months. Okay. So, like, they don't know I exist. I still should probably cut this thinking, like, conversation if we talk about, like, this graph and have my stinking feed on, like, not 18 plus. Because technically my thing is not set to be, like, considered 18 plus. Because, for some reason, I'm pretty sure... I think it's 5 years, but it might be 5 months. I'm pretty sure it's 5 years, though, was what the dude said. What Gator said. But, I might be wrong. But the main reason why I don't have my thing set to be 18 plus is because someone seems to want to stick with a default username. Which makes me suspect he does not have an account. Do you have an account? Not to mention most people. Like, most of the people who are coming to my stream are coming from my siblings, and I don't really want to bother them about crap like that. But genuinely speaking, you are the primary concern to actively, like, not have that setting enabled. And, like, I've considered a couple of times trying for a multiplayer lobby, and I didn't want to, like, set it 18 plus and not have you around. Which, I mean, like, if you don't have a account, I'm not going to force you to actively speaking have it and crap like that. I'm just, like, asking so that if you do, I can probably change that. This guy thinks I'm... heaven's sake, no, I don't think that you're young, but the stinking app might. And if the app does, then it's not going to let you on the stream. There's a setting that you have to click to actually, like, enable adult content on you. At least on YouTube, you actually have to be logged in to flip that. I'm in the mobile app. He's on a mobile. So did you flip that setting? Or did you not? Because I thought I had to flip the setting, but I might be wrong. As far as thinking that you're young, I don't see that out of your... I see no such necessity. Well... Then I'm probably gonna have, like, at some point, some sort of multiplayer where I try to actually go to a... like... communal thingamabob. I see casino bikinis and other options. Ah. Maybe I'm wrong. I thought there was something. I guess I'm imagining things. Because I know that on my end, I have a thing that, like, says whether or not I can set something to be 18 plus. Set a stream to be 18 plus. Unless it's at the... You're trolling me, aren't you? You're trolling me. Alright. Let's get trolled. Just thinking... Turn off. Just thinking being the prettiness. Okay, collection, languages, notifications, content, casino slash VR chat, enable ads. It's weird. I thought that would be like a thing. That's my channel. Notifications. Legal and policy. Don't see anything. So yeah. That's weird. Bro dadded me. Well, I thought I was being, like, the victim of a funny troll. I'm sorry, you're less funny than I thought you were. I'm joking. You're plenty funny. Of course, I just closed open settings application. Either way, so that should be set up as far as that goes. I just need to figure out how to get the individual inputs into that. The individual inputs into that. Awfully helpful. Glad you noticed I steal all my jokes. Yeah. Takes a lot of effort, but someone has to do it. Is this like a... Oh. Okay, 4-4. Okay, this takes reinforced plates and screws. It's fine. Alright, so I definitely want to have this set to be a Mark 1 because it'd be ridiculous to use any other device for this particular task. And with that as a given, that is what was understood. Now, plates should go down this line. I don't think there's any other use for plates, though. Yeah. There's effectively this spot here. And past that. Yeah, I might want to just move that back then. Gersh darn it. Your joking thievery has made my system fail. wonder if I, like, click on that. Nope. Yeah, whatever. I think that won't work. Curse you, viewer the platypus. You have thwarted my very scheme. Curse you, viewer the platypus. Your thieving nature. Okay. What do I do down there? What do I do down here? Okay, so over here I have it go straight from into. Okay. Down there I have more common sense. What happened up here? Why am I even talking about this? Does it? It produces 1 per minute. Good gravy. Alright, let's see. Why they had a platypus as a pet anyway? Well, you see, a platypus is a very interesting creature. But personally, I would have chosen a bat. Better at fertilizing plants, and less venomous. But yeah, don't know why they had a venomous pet. Probably not the wisest of decisions, especially since, like, they had to actually train the platypus. Which assumedly, like, could have gone wrong. Which is, like, one of the weirdest things. Yeah, set one. Where is it? I know it's in my inventory somewhere. There it is. So... Why am I this stupid? Congratulations! I finally thought for like 5 minutes about what I was doing. Rich people kind of mentality. Would a rich person go for a platypus? Probably. But also a curious person. So. Like, I think Darwin had a monkey, but that was mainly just out of, like, curiosity. Anyway. That's Mark 1, that's Mark 1. I mean, was he really all that? We're talking about, like, Darwin. I know that he had, like, father-in-law, rich guy, if I recall correctly. His father-in-law was well off. Which is the whole entire thing where, like, he had a social status. But Darwin, if I recall correctly, was a ship's chaplain. You're talking about the father of evolutionary theory? Darwin, actively speaking, was the one who came up with Charles Darwin's diary. But as far as the evolutionary theory, he gets credited with it, but a lot of what it's become nowadays isn't really what he used to do. It's kind of sad. Especially since it's used to actively justify justify. It gets used under a lot of theories based around anti-creationalism, which is kind of sad due to the fact that he actually was, well, a religious individual. He actively was a ship's chaplain. if I recall correctly. It always kind of saddened me, because a lot of what his book was about was adaptation. Adaptation is a fact that is very important to daily life. Okay, like working out, that's an adaptation. Okay, there's a lot of adaptations that a human being can do. Everybody dedicates like hours and hours on lessons based off of evolution, and they rarely ever talk about adaptation. Where like then later on in life, I've seen like a lot of videos where they're talking about, look, I actively pulled myself out of a rut. You can change. You can actively adjust to your environment. Like I've seen a lot of videos where they're like trying to be emotionally helpful, and the thing that they're effectively just explaining is adaptation over and over again. And we removed that education and replaced it with a theoretical to explain that you can change in your life. And didn't explain how the adaptation functions, even though we kind of know. You dedicate proteins to actively meet a need. That's how muscle building works. Okay, that's how, you know, when you do violin, you actually grow longer fingers. Things like that. Which can help in other actions, but we're not going to talk about that. I'm going to get back to trying to do the logistics end of this, because if I don't, it's kind of a waste of time. Hey, yo! I haven't done musicianing in a long, long time, but yeah. Hey, yo. That's for pipes. Will viewer 03 do AO again for the pipes? No. It's only for the fingers. Ridiculousness. Yeah, because that's sure it sucks. Speaking of, this actually has to be a Mark IV. This, I believe, is the pipes. So if I pull out a sample size of silliness, there should be pipes coming through. That is not what I want. That is precisely exactly what I do not want. If only there was like a cap that I could do. So that's that. I'm just enjoying having a conversation. So that's where the pipes are. And that's where... So I have to figure out how to flip these two. Then I gotta figure out how to get this over there. I mean, I can do that, so that's all fine. That's all fine and dandy. Okay. And then there's also this thing which will be required at this layer. Probably actually want that to be up a little bit. Just a little bit. Do I have, like, use an inventory? Take from inventory before depot. Please turn that back on. But, like, when it comes down to it, it's actually... It just is sad to me. Because, like, a lot of those people, they're sitting down, they're, like, actually surprised that you can, like, meet what you need to do. That you can change just that little bit and improve. I ain't, like, it's not instant. Which, like... Oh, no. It's not to say that they're completely ignorant of it, okay? Like, nobody's fully ignorant of adaptation. You pay attention and you can actively detect rather quickly. But, like, that they feel like it's an important thing to notate. That's the sad thing to me. Well, technically speaking, there's a bit of a complex back and forth with that. I don't know if there's actually a way to try and grow it in height. Well, I mean, when it comes down to it, basketball players do tend to be taller. So maybe doing something where you need to jump a bunch might actually help with that, but I got no idea. That one seems to be more genetic related. But it could be elsewhere. I mean, usually when it comes down to, like, if you have enough protein, that actually tends to also solve it as well, but I don't have enough information to say whether or not there's actually an exact thing that you could do, but I do know things that tall people tend to do. And if you want to, actively speaking, sit down and, like, actually, achieve something, looking at sports that actively try and, or tend to have those physical features do tend to be a good place to start, because, like, they need to maintain those physical features. Break legs, let them grow back longer. See, that's the thing, okay? That was, like, a therapy thing for a long time. And it was mainly for, if I recall correctly, if you had, like, uneven legs, so, like, you had a surgery, and because your surgery happened, you had to actively try and balance them out. So the original intention was just to medically try and balance out the two different, like, legs to make sure that they were even, so you could walk without, like, well, not to be, like, graphic or anything, but a peg leg. Without a peg leg. So underneath that understanding, assumedly it would work, but it was also not widely adopted. Assumedly because you had to injure the patient, and that would go against the Hippocratic Oath, but at the opposing end of it, you open up people up with a scalpel, so I got no idea. It might just not have had, like, consistent results. Which, breaking someone's leg for not consistent results is not exactly the wisest of decisions. I don't know enough on that front. Any kind of adaptation is going to be reliant on, well, diet within a certain space. Because again, effectively, you're just dedicating your body to certain resources. Not everything is adaptation. Okay, there are genuinely things that are genetic. Like, a lot of adaptations, actually, funnily enough, happen more in your grandkids than you. So, like, one of the oldest things that's been notated for, like, history was one of the interesting aspects of English history was the English bowmen. Because the attitude they had with the English bowman was to make a good English bowman, you had to start with the grandkid. Or the grandfather. You didn't start with, like, a random trooper and just send them off to battle. You actually had to start with, like, the oldest generation you could get, and then literally train that person till they're old and gray, and they have grandkids, and then start training the kids, and then the grandkids to actually serve the role. So, I guess if you break your legs a bunch, your grandkids will have nice long legs. And they won't have to do any effort over it. They won't know the strife you went through. It's like the meme from Batman. I never got to say thank you. And you'll never have to. Nah, that's a bad Batman impression. You'll never have to. That's a sufficiently horrible Batman impression, I'll take it. It's more like Master Chief, but we're gonna ignore that. Haven't watched Batman properly in forever. I don't really like Batman overarchingly, but yeah. I like guns. He doesn't like guns for the most ridiculous reasons. Like, there are justified reasons to actively not use a gun. And that was the stupidest thing when I ran into Daredevil. Okay, like, Batman has a stupid reason for not using guns. Daredevil somehow topped it. Ah, yeah, guns are evil, blah, 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 blah. I've heard that one before. They're very much our beautiful little creations. Very much are actually very often very important parts of history, but that's just often, well, I mean, mechanical history and a couple other applications. They're like little engines, but that's beside the point. I am far from a voice of certainty in every regard. I should have painted the outputs that I cared about. If you want to hurt someone, why not just stab them? I mean, are you asking that legitimately, or, like, are you trying to make a joke? Because, like, there is a legitimate answer, but I don't really have too much of a funny answer. Yeah, joke answer. Nice to know. Anyway. So I got the stinking modular frames worked up there. I need the steel pipes over here. I need to start painting things if I really care. That'll be metal pipe input. These are 4 screws. Let's make them, since they're gonna have to be like high capacity anyway, let's just high capacity belt loops. Okay, so we're gonna paint those yellow. If I could get yellow. Also, by the way, did you see the, I don't know which, I think it was, I can't remember which individual group is trying to make a bolter, but there's like a group trying to make a bolter right now. From like a 40k, like massive gun. This is Mark 1. Sorry. Sorry I ever doubted you. Okay. Okay. I don't know what that is, sir. No! He's not obsessed with Warhammer. Whatever will I do? I'm not nerd enough for 40k. Neither am I. Is that wise? Have I made the best decisions? Probably not. Have I made the funnest decisions? So it needs 90 iron plates. I have to go down and correct something now because Nimrod's thinking sat down and clicked the wrong button. I tried learning D&D. Mark 4, that's Mark 4. Okay. How'd it go for you? I know that betrayed him. What in good grief? There we go. There we go. That's what we're supposed to see. That's not what we're supposed to see. What in the good gravy crap? Sorry. Satisfactory decided to Satisfactory. People freaked me out, so I gave up. There's so many furries here. Why are they talking about my pants? What is this, D20? Admittedly, I can see where that comes from. That is... an inevitability within a certain space. That is plates. That is more plates. And that was the wrong plates. That was beams. And we're going to mark this exit with a conveyor of emotion. I'm joking, it's about murder. Mwahahaha. Not joking. But yeah. It is one of those things where it's a little tight-knit community. But the memes from them are usually funny. Well, they tend to be in-jokes. Still, I mean, at least the community was not absolutely massacred. Unfortunately, some communities have suffered from recent developments more than others. Well, there's probably a reason for that. So this is the metal belts. Probably... Belt Mark 4. You can just follow this path with these two. Okay, so how about I try and take this stuff here. I like the concept, but not the players. Yeah, it's... Again. Alright. Yeah. I know it's gonna be give or take with that. Good gravy. Okay, let's see. Is that gonna fix it, or do I have to fix something else? I have to fix something else. I have not fixed things sufficiently. Okay, what's this thing? I don't want that mark doing. So... That was functional. That's not functional. There we go. Okay, time to sleep. Take care and wash your long fingers, bro. Of all things, you do not need to inform me of that. I have washed my hands to the point where they bleed. But genuinely have a good sleep. I hope that's not nightmare fuel. Speaking of nightmare fuel, I have to fix that now. guess this is an attempt to actually counteract the, glitch where you can, like, have an infinitely tall item. Or infinitely tall belt. What we got coming out here? Yeah, that one was the wrong one. That already functioned. That was perfectly fine. This is the problem child. Okay. And it's working now. Everything should be fine now. Rainbows and daisies. Or whatever I'm gonna end up running into this time. Okay, so when it comes down to it, this is for concrete, this is for something that isn't working right now. Probably for the better. I need, other than that, I don't think. Just open. Okay, screw this. So the pipes and plates go into here. The plates go into here. The pipes don't go into here. The screws go into here. Plates and pipes go into here. Then the pipes go into here. So just make sure that I understand what I am doing. That is for pipes. This is for screws. This is for the modular frames. And the other stuff. The encased beams will be that color. Alright, I just need to figure out how to hook it all up. Probably just that. Okay, beams there. Since that's actually just gonna come from that angle, I'm just gonna do that. And then I can just do that for that guy. I can use a Criterium Fiendish and Fiendish. Criterium Fiendish. Because that's genius. And then that should be all nice and set up. So these two I don't think need any other relay other than this one, which means that I can basically just hook that up like that. This should be the pipes. That's not the pipes. That's the pipes. Let's color that. Same thing there. So with that as a given, anything else? Because that's what's going to be required there. And then screws are going to be handled over there. No, not anything really. Alright, so all I need to do is pull this guy. Why would I do that? I can just do this. Let's go this way for long enough. Try and figure out why this thing doesn't want to be normal. And That way, I can also then take this from back here, try and kind of line it up to this whole shenanigans, and then I can also take it at these guys. Are just going to be yellow. This is also going to be yellow. And just... Okay. So this portion right here is going to be a problem. And that's about it. And all I need here is just a splitter. I'm gonna hit the wrong thing. I'm gonna have some wrong think. Okay, let's play. Oh dear. Why is that incorrect? What has happened to my designs of logistical ludicrousy? Like Scoob. That was correct, which means that somebody did the wrong thing at the wrong time. Like Scoob. I don't think he likes my long fingers. Let's also sit down and color the correct things for the correct things. Okay, that should be everything that matters. Okay, let's also sit down and do that. Oh, hoopla. Hoopla. No, yes. Okay, there we go. Okay. That should be past that. Okay, so since we're not bound by the foolishness that came from yet before. Okay, belt too long. Okay. I completely forgot that that was supposed to be green. I also don't use this colored green for both of these due to the fact that they're kind of going to be connected for a little bit here. Although in all reality, this could probably just not. There we go. Okay. Problem solved. So as far as that goes, that should be the plates handled. The only problem is that I didn't add any power to anything, so time to power things up. Now then. I'm probably just gonna hook those two up. Okay, then we sit down, we take this to that, dock that there. And that should be about that. Well, my fingers probably aren't long anymore. I miss when they were. Bumped up against each other way less. What the stupidest things do. Okay, so no screws, no business. Except for these guys. Takes a whole flipping minute. Make one. Either way though, now I got that automated. So that should be fine. I could technically use this thinking, like, pipe technique to try and get that all handled, but these all should be sufficient for purpose. I don't really see where this is going badly, but yeah, it's gonna take a while. Ooh, some reinforced plates already came by. And it's already begun. And it will take 10 per. I am currently producing 15. Alright. The steel factory is currently at its level 1 production. I gotta fix this hole in the roof. I gotta set up the lighting for it. But I'm willing to call that done for like a solid minute. And then I'll get right back to it because I'm just that stupid. Just like how I just picked up a, well, that's a truck. And that's a fluid truck. I was trying to pick up an Explorer, which, none of those things. But let's see, what time was it? 9:26. So I have just enough time to go off and break things. Time to go break things on purpose. Okay, so can't really take this up here. Don't know how much I care. Man, these tires haven't even touched dirt and they're already super dirty. Time to go off-road. Where their skills can be appreciated. The whole point of this is to actually have, like, a better driving system than the stinking truck. What in the world am I looking at here? Is it a shortcut? We'll find out. As far as maps go, I am currently right here in the Explorer. And I want to go over here into coal power so that I can break things, as I have been promised long ago to accomplish. Okay, don't hit any of the snake and barley nuts. Actually, it's probably fine if I do. I don't see an extensive reason not to. Oh, I wonder what's right over there. Wow! Alright. Of course. There we go. Now then, it may surprise you, but I'm here to destroy all this piping. Why am I doing this? First off, because it is extremely easy to do. And second off, because I kind of need to do it. I'm planning on transferring this space to object refinement, or collectibles refinement. So things like animal proteins and all that stuff are going to be refined over here. Okay, let's just pop those however we can. I don't know how much I want to destroy these exterior pipe holes, because I'm still going to need water for the liquid biofuel, but I don't think I'm going to be able to even do that in the same way that I did it. Or, I haven't done it yet, so I don't think I'm going to be able to break down the biofuel in the basic way that I did it before. I may require some remodeling. So, it is its own application. I suppose none of it. After this, let's just take this junction and just... And then let's take this for sport. Anything else that fits that definition around those parts? Here parts. And then let's take everything that fits underneath part line Mark 1 banner and remove it. Okay. There should be some space over here. These guys, probably not been fully removed. Great, then we sit down, we take the pipeline floor hole, do the exact same thing. Very basic, lots of progress, rather quickly. And for cheap. I don't have to be creative. I can just do what I should do anyway, which is... I can just do... not much thought process. Anyway, so... Speaking of, let's break down this whole hoopla, and we can use the shredder I've got up there to better help the drain efforts, but I still need to unplug the sulfur from the compacted coal production. Alright. Either way. Alright. anything that I'm missing right now? Nope. Alright. Alright. Alright, you sorry little maggots. Okay. You cannot burn what is already on fire. That is a horrible soldier impression. I'm working on it. I'm working on making it better. More better. Stronger. Faster. Smarter. Okay, maybe not. Okay, let's check what we got over here. There's 2 sulfur production points, both of them dedicated into their own jurisdiction and direction. But neither of them seem to be headed down that way. Unless I'm incorrect where it comes from. Aha! Aha! I get it. Okay. I see where I was coming from. Alright. There are smarter ways of handling that, I'm sure, but it did the job at the time. And it kept all that crap off the stinking walking bridge, which is an extremely helpful instance. But time to sit down and get a working. First off, the actual pull has to drain. That's gonna take a little bit. Okay. And then I gotta sit down and figure out other stuff. So, all that's not coming from anywhere, so that's just basically a waste of time. And this is a waste of energy within a certain jurisdiction, but I think what I'm actually gonna do is probably just... I don't know. I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world, but I don't think I'm gonna use it for what I used it for. This should be a normal node. Yeah, it's just a normal node. So I'm pretty good with keeping it on power in case I want to go find it later. Well, maybe. Yeah, maybe. I guess what I was thinking. Yeah, so I'll keep it somewhat connected currently, although I'm probably going to make a better connection for it. Actual proper highway system. Instead of what I've currently got for it. Ooh, it's going away for some reason. But this thing's going to take a while to drain, and it's going to take a whole lot longer if I don't actually take the resources to their dedicated jurisdiction. So... This should be a resource dedicated to... Oh! So this is the thing that's connected Okay. Well then. I'm probably just gonna go ahead and say... Murder? Yeah, murder. Okay, so where is the logistics thingamabob? Conveyor, merger. So it switches. For some reason, nothing wants me to function right now. It has obviously been rigged against me. It could not be that I just am being incredibly just inaccurate on what this thing is even supposed to do. Okay, so let's get this actually functional. Conveyor Mark 3. 3! Let's make sure that I have a nice little voice crack in there. Okay. That should do it. There should be all that nice little goodness going right back up where it belongs. Now, everybody's favorite part of the show. Time to throw stuff in the garbage can. Who doesn't love that? Eh. What am I even supposed to say? Actually. Alright. So. Okay. Let's get this properly handled. So let's go about. Here it'll probably do. That's probably too far. Alright, so let's sit down. Anything else? Can I see the hole? The hole's just fine. The hole is fine. Okay. Rededicating resources to... merger. And is this actually being emptied to any regard? Well, maybe it would be, but I don't know. Okay. I wouldn't know. I didn't finish that project. Okay. Alright. All things final. No refunds or exchanges. So now we're draining this all. Should be... Yeah, that should still be functional, so... There we go. A little bit of cleanup here and there. The only other thing that I gotta think is this monstrosity. Thankfully, I do have a little bit of something to actively help out with that. I thought it was still hooked up, admittedly. But I thought the actual assemblers were still making the compacted concrete. So I could just let the raw ingredients drain out of the system on their own. So I'm gonna correct that real quick. First things first, though. Let's just take all of these nice coal and then compacted coal. I don't think that there's really all that much that I can even dump in. Oh man, I'm already full. Yikers, snipers, SAM fluctuators are already that good? We're good on SAM fluctuators. The fluxinators have done their job. What you like to see? In fact, I have to sync those now. It's a rule. Not really, but I'm going to pretend like it is. Okay, so. Those right in there. Boom, gone. Never happened. Okay, so that all. And that. I have to redirect in these things as soon as I can. Which, I mean, I could also start speeding this up by actually manually emptying these, but I don't really feel the temptation. Other than that, to be clear, as far as the alternate uses of long fingers, I personally do not have experience in the dirty version. I just know the other versions where you can just sit down and disassemble things. And of the other dirty version. Anyway, so... Not to say that it's all that dirty, I mean, might goes out. Other than that, would like the actual Criterium node to be collected and then sent down into the basic parts manufactory. Although at this point, with how many basic parts were being produced at the steel factory, I'm pretty sure I could have just had everything produced over there, but we're still gonna go there over here, apparently. It's just I'm doing that currently. Also I have nice little reference pieces here and there for like how big I'm going to need stuff if I have a refinery in there, which I will note. It's bigger than a coal. Well, actually, no. I guess because I let the coal burner clip, I didn't notice, but no, it's actually smaller than a coal miner. Eh. So, now I'm letting things strain. I gotta figure out how to get the power over there, though. That might be something to do real quick. Let's see, how much time do I have left before I have to sit down and... take a break. I know. It's not all that long. I got 30 minutes left. So, how do I plan to transport the electricity? I can transport the actual Caterium from underneath, so I can just wire it down from below and pull it up, like, right about here. It's just a question of what I really want to do about that. These are all nice and kind of hooked up. Like, they ain't pretty looking, but they'll do the job. Can also set them up to actually produce full, like, load on all of these individual belts and conveyors. But without an actual understanding of what I want to do with that, reasons to do so are limited. Okay. Okay. Now, probably gonna mark the next stream at 18 plus anyway, because apparently I'm making more dirty jokes more recently. And that probably does not mix well with the non-18 plus setting that I've got on. I forgot to change that other setting back to what I had it before. Yeah, whatever. I cannot see what else I would want to do right now, other than try and get the power set up. Get the blueprint. That's the power wall mover set up. Oh, it's just below the stinking place where I want them. Never quite where I prefer. Alright. We're just gonna move on right past that thing. Doop 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 doop. just in case. Let's just stick it right back here. Go one up, go one down. And start hooking up the power. I forgot that these things often take oh, it doesn't use copper wire. Aha! Need that. My genius even surpasses me. Speaking of, probably actually want to sometime, mayhaps think before I fall into the depths of the ocean that mayhaps there may be, oh, just maybe, a better way of handling things instead of just plummeting to my death. I'm sure it would be hilarious if I just go wee 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 and then over to this side. Whoop. I'm sure that'd be the funniest thing, and I'm sorry I'm going to take that from you. And by sorry I'm going to take that from you, I mean not sorry whatsoever. But I am going to continue doing what I was doing before. Just gonna bonk me. Yep. My design is impeccable. You cannot pick it. You'll get electrocuted. Impeccable. Ooh. If I come from this angle? Well, I hope you know how to swim. Okay, so let's try this a different way. That's a lot more like it. It's still gonna chuck me off when I try and go backwards, but I don't really care all that much. Alright, let's see what we got. Doopity-doo. 2 minutes left. And then I can't do any more fun thing. But it was already given. Okay, so let's see how this is going. Still going strong. Lots of material getting gotten rid of very quickly. Still very few points being received, which makes sense. I just cleared it out. So there's not a whole lot in context of New scrap being added. So I'll probably sink for less than $1. But it'll be fine, because I was trying to destroy it anyway, and this actually lets it do anything. Alright, away. That's the stop point. I'm going to go ahead and stop after I'm done with my power handling, because effectively I just finished, didn't I? Just go from here, can't I? Well, yes, I can. Is it wise to? No. Although at the opposing end of it, it's not really all that unwise either. Nothing on the upper row? Nope. All connections clear? Yep. Usable as a zip line? Mayhaps. We'll see. Nope. Not at all. But usable enough to actively not kill me, so. Oh no. As far as power transportation has been confirmed. Okay. Like or dislike as you will. If you subscribe, welcome to the ride. Don't die, it's no fun. And toodles. Toodles. Toodles.